Welcome, everybody, to the crossover. Today is Friday, October 10th, 2025. Josh, how are you?
Good. Normal. Just a regular week.
It was a nice Thursday night for ASU fans.
Yes. For Scattaboo. Scattaboo. He's getting too popular though. I need him to play bad so that I can afford his cards.
He's got the recipe for a cult following already, and
Yeah.
that's assuming that he's not going to be good.
I think that's too late for that.
Yeah, if he's good and he's got this personality and he's ripping off his shirt and bumping chests with Fitzmagic.
Dude, he was like this at ASU. Everyone else is getting to see it now. So I've seen so many reels that are like 30 teams passed on this guy 3 times. You've seen, those types of reels.
Yeah.
He was doing
Bowling
this.
ball.
He was doing this against Texas in the college playoff, dude. He was dominating them.
You guys were during his final season. Your ASU was projected to be like the worst team in the conference, right?
Last place, 12th, or I think there's like 16 teams in the Big 12. We were projected for 16th place.
And then you got like within a game or two of the collegiate championship.
We got within a play, dude. It was 4th and like 16 for Texas, and they converted.
That's and nobody stopped to say maybe Scattaboo. Why is it Boo rather than Bo?
I mean, I've always thought it was Scattaboo because that's just what we've been saying it. So in that game, he threw a touchdown pass. He ran for 2 touchdowns. He ran for 2 2-point conversions, and he had like a 60-yard reception.
And he threw. You said he threw. Yeah. He passed a touchdown.
Yeah, when he did it, he did like the arrow one, where they do this.
Yeah.
And now he does the back. He didn't never do the backflip in college.
George would like to wish everybody a happy 10-10. Do you accept or reject that? You can reject his olive branch if you'd like.
Isn't there 12 of those every year? 1-1, 2-2. Yeah. We just give out days for everything now.
It's good zag. It's good zag. If I ever give the option to reject, I know at least one of us is going to take it.
Right.
Although 10-10 does have a special hobby significance because of the PSA holiday.
Right. It's like an Amazon holiday for them.
Right.
Prime Day.
Exactly. Yes. The corporate holiday. All right.
You mean Halloween?
Cage says Beckett celebrated September 5th for 9-5.
Nice.
Well done there. And what? I suppose maybe SGC celebrated September 8th for the 98, almost the perfect 100. That's their gem, right? Okay. Their old gem. All right, let's we've allowed the chat to fill up here. Let's actually get to the content of today's show. We have a title idea already. Okay, so let's first of all do any mail days. Are there any mail days here?
I'm shamefaced. No mail.
Yep, no mail here either. Don't think Christina has any. All right, then let's just hop on over to the questions, which I thought were quite good. Quite good. And today's show is going to have a cutoff of midnight Eastern, 11 Central. So this is going to be a sharp hour, a firm hour. So let's just see how many of these we can get through. We're going to warm up with this one from RJ Hampton Collector. It says, can we get your NBA preseason hot takes? MVP, most improved, sneaky championship team, etc. I can kick this off with something.
I have Luka as MVP. I'll start there.
Yep, that's. I think it's probably his turn, and I like that as an MVP pick.
He's currently third. I'm looking at betting odds.
Yeah. Well, that good. He's been number one for like 4 straight years. So now that he's not, maybe. Yeah, I could see that happening. I think the Lakers are going to be better than some people are expecting. I have them solidly in 50-plus win territory. But the guy who is my hot take for MVP, do you want to guess who it's going to be?
Wembanyama.
Exactly. Wembanyama. He's already on the cusp of it. He's right. Statistically, he's right there. Team should be better this year, but I think the thing that's going to hold him back is I don't know if the Spurs are going to be like even a top 4 seed. So if you're like the statistical outlier and you're the 7 seed or the 6 seed, that's one thing. Like that Westbrook had a season like that. But there's going to be some really good statistical players this year who are going to be a better team. So I think it's going to be tough. But he would be my dark horse pick. Any other dark horse picks you want to throw in there?
For MVP, no. It's like a 5-man race. There's like no chance it's not one of the top 5 guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, probably not. Cade and Banchero and these guys are like.
Cade is plus 5,000, and he's number 6, 7.
Yeah. It's just the leap that would need to be taken for these guys, like efficiency-wise, statistically. I don't see it.
It's insane. Yeah, they have to like be a top 10 player statistically of all time, like right away.
It's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. What about a sneaky championship team?
I don't have a sneaky championship team, but I think the Nuggets like absolutely crushed their offseason.
Yeah.
Like they improved their bench at every spot. You guys are gonna really like Cam Johnson. He was good for the Suns. He's a solid bench player. He's like Porter Jr., except everything that annoys you about Porter Jr., Cam does not have those traits. Like he plays every game. He rebounds, he hustles, he defends. He's good. He's a good player.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Nuggets are going to be really, really tough.
Didn't they get like Tim Hardaway, and then they got another bench guy? Who was the other guy they got? They got Bruce Brown back.
They got Bruce Brown back,
which
is
Jonas.
a very big deal. Valanciunas is probably maybe their biggest pickup just because this is the first time they've ever had a backup center.
Yeah, like they're 9 deep at this point.
Yeah, they're going to be. I think they've got a really good shot, but it's always about health. I mean, the Pacers were up in Game 7 of the Finals, and Tyrese Haliburton has just made like 4 3-pointers in the first quarter, and then Achilles blown out. Season over. Next season over.
That's one of my other takes that Bill tried to steal, but I think the Pacers are still going to be good. I think they'll be like a 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah, Bill can comfortably admit now that the Pacers are better than the Celtics because the Celtics aren't competing anymore. So he can finally admit that.
Let me look at championship odds if I can find them.
It really is too bad, though, because the Pacers also lost Turner, who I thought was an important part of their team. Haliburton is obviously the most important part of that team. So they're in a hole. I don't like them to do too much damage this year, but I'm sure they'll be good. They'll 45
looking at most improved players. I'm just kind of like naming some names of guys based on odds. Amen Thompson.
Yeah, it's good.
I think a lot of people see him and his brother. His brother's 5th All-Star. I think a lot of people are excited about those two guys. Denny Advia, Andrew Nembhard, Ben Mathurin. That's probably because there's more.
Yeah, they're going to get a lot more opportunity now.
Matas Buzelis. A lot of people like him.
Yeah, Bulls. Yep, but the Bulls stink.
Finals MVP is basically the same as MVP, except Donovan Mitchell's in the running.
Yeah, okay.
I think the Cavs and Knicks are probably the 2 favorites in the East, right?
Absolutely. And the Knicks are a team that I think is more battle tested. But the Cavs have more talent. And so I don't know. The Cavs kind of they kind of caught the injury bug at the wrong time last year, and they ran into the Pacers who were just massacring everybody.
Yeah.
Cavs are sneaky. You don't really hear them mentioned a ton, but they had like 63 wins last year, 62 wins.
Now, a lot of people are talking about the Lakers, which is interesting. I think they'll be a dark horse 3-4 seed.
Yep. They're going to be good.
Ayton, we'll see.
Yeah. So ESPN, I think Kevin Pelton published some power ranking, and he thinks the Warriors are going to be the 2 seed in the West with 56 wins.
What? The 2 seed?
Yeah. Yes.
Dude, I would bet my house on that. Are you serious?
Exactly. Here's the thing. I do think the Warriors have a great roster. I'm a huge Jimmy Butler guy. I think they have a great roster. But Jimmy Butler plays like 60 games, 55 games. So even if you guys are great when healthy, all your guys are 35, 36, 37, 38. You guys are going to be healthy for 55 games.
They have no center.
Yeah.
Their two best players are 35 years old. No way.
Right. Yeah.
That's not a regular season team, dude. There's no way.
Exactly. No, they'll be happy to take a 6 seed and try and
Because you'd have
stay
to
healthy
beat
for the playoffs.
the young Rockets. OKC is obviously going to win a ton of regular season games, and the Nuggets are going to try to get a high seed because they want a home court.
Right. Yep.
No way.
Yep. I think we'll see a little more parity in the West this year. I would say probably no 60-win teams in the West this year. That's my prediction.
I'm also quietly optimistic about the Suns because they finally got rid of all the nightmare big three bull crap that I just never like. I tried to get excited about it, but I hate that kind of crap.
Yeah.
And now that everyone thinks they suck, I'm mildly excited.
Nice. Yeah, it's good. That's the time to zag. All right. We'll have plenty of time in the coming weeks and months to talk NBA. Up next from Bleecker Street Cards, early question submission. He sent it in before Friday. You can do that if you want to DM me the question in advance. How am I supposed to react to full-time dealers posting that they're making some cards available? I feel like we haven't had this any anti-dealer takes in a while.
This is one of my favorites. I always am like, oh my gosh, I'm in shock. How nice of you to make every card you have available at all times. Wow.
Or how about considering making it available? Like, no, we know it's available, pal.
Only if you're really nice to me.
All right. Cage Lawyer says, is there any pricing data to support that the final quarter of the year is a buyer's quarter? All right. So Cage had a podcast earlier this week where he was pointing out that recently, in recent past, October, November, December have been good months for buyers because the market takes a step back. And he was sort of explaining it's related to the holiday season. And so I went on to Card Ladder. I looked at the CL50 and I went back 10 years and I just looked at how has the CL50 performed in quarter 4. So that would be from October 1st until January 1st. How has it performed in quarter 4? And here was the results. In 2016, it was down 7%. In 2017, it was down 3%. In 2018, it was down 5%. In 2019, it was down 1%. In 2020, it was up 24%. 2021, down 3%. 2022, down 8%. 2023, down 3%. 2024, down 2%. And then we'll see what happens in 2025. So 9 of the last 10. Or I'm sorry, I should actually say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should actually say 8 of the last 9 have been they've been negative. The Q4 has been negative for the CL50, but 2020 was the big outlier there. So anything you want to say about the seasonality of card pricing?
I'm looking at monthly volume, and last year, August, September, and October were like all-time highs in Card Ladder volume tracking, and then November had a huge fall down. Do you remember that? We talked about it a lot. And then December became the new all-time high, and we haven't really come down since that December all-time high. We're up and up.
Yeah. Well, the thing, so like that's such a good point because some of the nuance here, like I made it Q4 just to make it really clean. You know,
right.
Like, let's just look at Q. But if you actually look really closely, the market bottoms out in early December. And then by the time it's like the 3rd week, the 4th week, the end of December, the market is recovering. It's already trending back up. So like if you're really trying to time it, that seems to be when it happens.
Right.
All right. From Out of Wax. I'm so curious to hear what you're going to say about this. Topps is introducing the Three Kings Redemption card. And that is basically them telling you what the player's best cards are, but it leaves 90% of the products they offer out of the equation, which means cards like the Logo Man from Dynasty or Superfractors from other historic sets like Finest get excluded. So do you know about this Three Kings Redemption card? Okay. So the Three Kings Redemption card is the thing being offered by Topps where if for any player, if you are able to show that you have their rookie debut patch autograph, 1 of 1, their Bowman Chrome Superfractor 1 of 1 autograph, and their Topps Chrome rookie autograph Superfractor 1 of 1. If you can show those 3 cards and prove ownership, and they say they might ask you for proof of purchase and stuff. I was kind of digging into the site today. But if you can show that you have those 3 cards, they will custom produce for you and hopefully get the player to inscribe and sign it as well, but no guarantees. A 3 Kings card that commemorates, it's a 1 of 1, it's the only one that will ever be made, and it commemorates the fact that you brought together all 3. So that's how that works.
What's the complaint about the Superfractor and the Logo Man? This is like a baseball thing, obviously, or at least to start.
I think Autowax, or this is Ruben, his question is like, why are we I think the nature of it is like, well, what about the other cards? Like, why is it these 3? People already prioritize these 3. Does this ignore the rest?
So you want to know what I think?
Yes.
I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
what a great idea.
Awesome. It's so good.
It's sick.
It's so good. It's a very, very good idea. It has future applications too. So like, to Ruben's points, there can be other cards that are similar to this that they do to help boost products like Dynasty or Finest that also have amazing cards. Like, this isn't the end of the road for this concept.
Of course, it's clearly baseball. It's literally says Bowman Chrome first. This is baseball. So they'll probably do this in 3 different cards for basketball. This is like one of the best ideas I've ever heard.
Yep. It's a really cool idea. Yes, Christina, what do you say?
I really like it, but you know my role for Card Ladder. So my head immediately goes to the 3 of us each own one of these cards. You guys write me an invoice and I present the 3 cards to Topps and say, hey, look, I'm the owner of these 3 cards. And then that way we get to split this new card. Then we send the new card to auction and, oh, look, I resold your cards back to you. So like, I'd be interested in how they like actually implement this. I love the idea, but like, my job at Card Ladder, for anyone who's not aware, is to find the issue and then let Chris and Josh solve it. So yeah,
I hope the hobby like calls that person out for trying to do that, or like the hobby knows this person has all 3 and everyone starts tagging them and it's like, this is legit. We've got 50 people tagging Topps, and it becomes like a community thing where it's very obvious one way or the other.
I mean, I think it's awesome. I think a lot of people do this already. So like, to reward them, I think is like, or a lot of people try to achieve this already, like, right? Like your top 3 cards or something. So like, have like a custom card made for you from Topps that gets autoed by the like player of your, like, your favorite player. That's just awesome.
So here's one of the angles to this.
Yeah.
It is not easy to unite these 3 cards. It might be easier for an obscure player, but what's the equivalent of LeBron for this, right? Like, you would be uniting his like ultimate vertical Logo Man autograph and his I don't know, 2003 was a different menu of cards, but take 3 1-of-1s from LeBron's rookie year from the peak products. And it's like, yeah, all you have to do is have those 3. So I think
I think the applications of this are not, like you pointed out, they're not going to stop here. Like, for example, what if someone at Fanatics like had a connection to McCaffrey and they're like, oh, this guy has, you know, all the Prism Finites from every year. I don't know what they'd make some like special post Panini finite run or something. Like, it could be more than just these 3 cards.
Yeah. I think there are more applications to sort of making specific cards that commemorate the collector for having put them together as a run.
So there's 2 that have already done it. There's 2 that have already done it. You know this?
There's one guy, Kearns Cards, who has done it twice for Jackson Churio and Junior Caminero.
So he's got these like, it's like kind of like a custom card, but like it's made by Topps, and then the player signs it.
Yep. And there's no guarantee though that the player will be able to sign it, but the ideal is that the player will sign it and inscribe it. One gentle suggestion that I have. So for baseball, the 3 types are the rookie debut patch autograph. Great. That's the patch autograph. The Bowman Chrome first Superfractor auto. Great. That's the auto. And then the Topps Chrome Superfractor rookie auto. So that's 2 1-of-1 autos and 1 patch auto 1-of-1. For basketball and football, I would like to see one patch auto 1 of 1, one auto 1 of 1, and one pure base 1 of 1.
Yeah, like the Superfractor, Topps Chrome, the
Yes.
finest Superfractor auto, and the Dynasty auto or something. Logo Man.
Now here's a question. Obviously, this piece is designed to live with the collector who has the 3, but
But
maybe they sell
yeah,
some of the cards. So maybe they don't have the 3 anymore. Maybe they just want to sell this and test the market and see if it. Do you think that this card will command that any of these 3 Kings cards will command much market value?
yeah. The concern is like I'll buy all 3 knowing that I'm going to get the 4th, and then I'll sell all 4 and make money just by having that 4th. And I made the comps in the first 3. There becomes some sort of financial game that's not ideal for the idea. Hopefully is that they keep it, but I do think they'll be valuable.
I think it depends what it looks like and how it's actually implemented. Design and like the inscription that is used. Like if it's literally Chris Hoge, #1 CMC collector, like you reselling that to who? But like if it's,
Yeah. So here I'm going to issue a second critique. Having already said that I love this as an idea,
yeah.
the card should not have as its thematic content. You brought together the 3 cards, the 3 Kings. I don't love that as the thematic content. I think the thematic content, this should be a card that would stand on its own. That this card is not commemorating anything in particular, but just that this is like this truly impossible card. But if you do unlock it, then it's like it's just this impossible card.
I have a picture of the card if you want me to share it.
Yeah, sure.
It's not what you said.
No, I know.
Yeah, it's more of like a commemorative card.
It's commemorative, yeah, which is fine, but I think the next level unlock here is to just make this like a truly non-commemorative card.
Yeah, because this almost feels like a Bitcoin card or something, or what the blockchain card.
Yeah, because like this card has clear, you see like the Bowman first there and the left, and you see the Topps Chrome rookie symbol in the upper right, and then you see the debut patch. And so I get it. The card is promoting those 3 things, and the card represents the unity of those 3 things. And if those 3 things are united, this 4th card coming with them is awesome. But I don't see this card standing alone very well. I think the next level unlock is if this card could stand alone. That even if you didn't have the other 3 with it, it still would be a very desirable card.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. Almost like they make it's almost like they make a separate brand that just is these cards or something, like the 3 Kings brand, and then the card can, like you said, stand on its own.
There we go. Yeah, I like that better.
I'm not as critical of what you said though. I think it's kind of neat either way.
Yeah. It is, dude. It's a really cool idea, and it's just a start. I think that there's a lot of application of this.
Are we getting excited about Topps now?
Yes.
Well, like this is for the 1/1s, right? Like let this become successful, and then do it for like the golds, or not the golds because their golds are out of 50, but like do it for the out of 10s or like the red out of 5, and then have it be red thematic, and then 5 people have the chance to do it, but you could only like once one serial number is used, like that card is dead to the play. Like so, like if Chris like does the 4 out of 5 and then sells the 4 out of 5, like I can't claim the 4 out of 5 on that card for the next, like for my own series. Like it has to be a different number or something. Like, so I think that like this is just the start, and they like have a lot of room to grow. And then that way it also adds like a little more substantial behind like the set of like the separate set for this new card, because more people can collect it.
All right, let's get to the next question on this topic,
Right.
which is from Weekends Are for Cards, which is please discuss the Topps 3 Kings promotion, which we just did, but then he has a specific question. Do we think it is needless catering to the well-to-do collector?
I mean, Christina's pointing out like do it for more layers. I think that just kind of, it's like, I like the idea, but they're just kind of like probably starting at the top because it'll happen less frequently and they can work through the kinks of only having to do it 5 or 6 times, not having to like run this through a bunch of times because it is a new concept. So I'm okay with them starting at this level.
Yep. I think so too. It's a good unlock, but I think the criticism is well founded here, which is just that if you already have these 3 cards,
right,
you're already doing well.
Right.
So I get that. The point there is well taken.
Well, the opposite is that we reward someone that has 3 base cards.
And they do have there's the MVP buyback thing that they do and stuff. So
Well,
you can't just
Yeah, isn't that kind of what Ruben was saying too? Like when he was saying that, like it's top, like they're using top cards as the chase.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what he was saying. And he's like, well, like, wait a minute, like, what about? So I do think they can do more 3 Kings stuff as well, but I don't know enough about the baseball offering to comment. But
it also gives the person who comes into one of the 3 in a break the chance to sell it for more because the person needs it as their 3rd or something. So it can still benefit any random collector if they happen to one of the 3 that is needed or whatever.
Yeah.
I think we'll also see people putting them together for random players.
Yeah. Yep.
Because like that'll be the less expensive option is to get the, I don't know, pitchers are usually like less expensive in baseball, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's really cool. This is a development that we'll be continuing monitoring. I just want to call attention to 2 quick things that came up in the chat that added something to discussion. Cage points out that while these cards are top cards, they come from lower end mass produced products. So tops will sell more. And that's why they use the MLB debut patch auto and not Dynasty, because Dynasty is already an expensive high end product that has no problem selling all of its boxes. And then, and then James Darcy points out that Topps already did a 9-card Grail set for soccer that does get a 1/1 for the person who completes it. So I think there's more reason to think that they're going to continue to grow this out of it.
Right.
Pretty cool though. I think I've already noticed right away that Topps is doing way more engagement and creative thinking on the level of collectors, and that's cool. That's nice to see.
Oh, for sure. Like if Panini did something like this for like, the first person to put together a rainbow from one of their Prism products or something, like I think people would be chasing after that hardcore.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of the outreach efforts of the 90s and the promotional efforts of the 90s and the mail-in redemptions and stuff you could do.
Yeah. Yep. I'm a fan.
Direction. All right. Up next from Drake's PC. This is for each of you. What is an example of a card that did not interest you until it became valuable? And similarly, what's a card you were interested in before it became valuable? As an addition, what drew you into the card that wasn't valuable that later became valuable? And other than value, what motivated or drew you in to buy the card that had become valuable? This is a bit complicated. Do you follow this?
Yeah, the issue is that we came in 2016 when like nothing was really like super valuable, and now it seems like everything we like is valuable. So it's hard to like separate those two. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, exactly. So that's why I had to think about this question from the lens of like relative value. Like what's
relatively
a card
exactly
relative to others was like. It's like here's the one that came to mind for me: the Logo Man or Shield autograph 1/1 is a card that never spoke to me as much as other types, and it's still true to this day. So like I have a McCaffrey collection, I have his NT Shield autograph 1/1, and I have his Prism Black Finite 1/1, and I enjoy the Black Finite a lot more than I enjoy the Shield autograph 1/1. I just do. That's just my taste. But I think both cards are very important. But the thing that indicated that his NT Shield autograph 1/1 was important to me was that it's such a valuable card. So that's a card that because it was valuable, it became, at least for McCaffrey, it became a card that I said I'd like to get this to sort of solidify my Mount Rushmore of McCaffrey cards.
That makes sense. I have one for card that I was interested in before it became valuable. This one might surprise you, but Prism used to be really cheap, and I really like the 2012 Prism set. I bought a LeBron silver
I
Prism
remember that.
For like $40.
This was like 2017, 2018. You were buying those 2012 silver LeBrons?
Yeah, they were like
Yeah.
40, $50, and then I started grading them as PSA 10s, and the pop was like 9 or 10, and I was selling them. I also did a
recall
lot with
a Beckett article about this or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Prism was like when it started getting really valuable, a lot of people on Blowout were getting pissed off because Prism was kind of like it was seen as like the cheaper shiny product that was fun for collectors to just pick up, and then they started getting more expensive because people that were doing like the patch auto stuff from the previous era started jumping back over to Prism as like the Topps Chrome reincarnate, and it just sort of took off in 2018, 2019.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Let's go down here too. This from the Cardfather 13. Whether it be modern sports cards, trading cards, or art piece cards, there appears to be a flight to one of ones. In this world where everything is a one of one, where do we go from here? Feel free to take whichever angle you like: collector, investor, flipper, manufacturer, content creator, whichever one you think gives the most interesting perspective. Obviously, as a collector, we love one of ones. Yes, we know they aren't all created equal. I guess I'm just curious, which parlor tricks will the manufacturers try next?
How much credit do you want for the one of one flight?
Well, the one of ones were always the apple of the high end collector's eye. So
Yeah, but they always were like left out of rankings. They were always sort of pushed to the side as like this. Not necessarily that they were more too expensive, but they were just like impossible to find or whatever.
yeah, well, the 90s still deals with that. Like, so almost on Drake's previous question, I just put it to the side. But one example I was going to give is that Hakeem Olajuwon's PMG Championship, which is numbered to 50, sells for considerably more than his Flair Showcase Row Zero one of one from the same year. And Hakeem has 6 one of ones from the first year of basketball one of ones. He has 6. He has 50 PMG champs. He has 6 one of ones. The Row Zero recently sold. It sold like 3 times in the last 3 years. Sold for $20,000, which is a lot of money, but still considerably less than his PMG Championship sells for. So there's a card where its relative value is cheap compared to other stuff from the 90s that I'm still drawn to it, even though it's much cheaper than the PMG Champ. So the 90s still has a big disagreement with where I think one of one stand. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, the answer is like it's just going to be more hyper focus on one on ones. So we just talked about this Topps idea. It's all about one on ones. That whole idea.
Yeah.
Because they know that the chase to put together this Three Kings thing can only be done if all 3 are one of ones. Because then you can't have 2 people competing, right? So if they're all one on ones, only one person can win it. So it just continues to be this sort of race to get more one of ones, and you can't get any lower than 1. So this is where it ends. It's just more focus on it, more hype.
Exactly. You can't get rarer than a one of one. But I do start to worry though. I do start to worry about like base sets like this happened to Select. This wasn't always the case in Select, but it recently happened to Select where there's 10 or 8 one of ones, and all of a sudden,
Totally.
you know, what if there's like, well, we'll just make 50 one of ones, and you know, all of a sudden it starts to get ridiculous. So then there's a second solve, and the second solve is okay. So the one of one is the rarest issue of a card that you can find. It's the rarest of its type. But then the complementary piece of that is then what's the earliest one of one? And then you completely cut off the manufacturer's ability to flood one of ones because you say, well, these are great, but these are later. I want to go back to the earliest one of ones. And
you mean the one with the longest lineage or the lowest number?
The one that goes back the furthest. So like we were just talking about Hakeem. Like Hakeem is a player who has a one of one from the first ever run of basketball one of ones, which was 97, 98. Yeah. So then that's my next thought is like, but let's say I don't collect Hakeem. So then, you know, if it's LeBron, then I want to go back to his earliest one of ones that I can find. Or if it's LeBron and Prism, then I want to go to his earliest Prism one of ones. Like that's my next solve is like the earliest, which ones appear earlier.
Right. Or the reason I like the finites for football is because the finite itself goes back the furthest.
Bingo. Exactly. So then we have to start like uncovering these historical connections that that can help safeguard against any proliferation that might be coming, and it might be coming. It really might be coming. I'm very cautious about that.
We've gotten a few hints though that Topps is catering some of their ideas and research towards products they're doing towards the collector. So I would hope that they're all very aware of what you're talking about. Like, hey, we can't just come out the gate and make 50 101s in Topps Chrome, or people, they're going to be riots.
Yeah, well, they'll learn one way or the other. So like, they can learn the easy way or the hard way. But yeah, if you dilute the 1 of 1, you've diluted the rarest possible thing, and that would be tough to come back from.
Becomes shiny.
All right, so let's get to this next question from Drake here. Drake's PC says, when it comes to shiny cards from the Panini era, 1 of 1s, golds out of 10, gold vinyl out of 5 are seemingly the only parallels that the hobby truly cares about from a value perspective. Outside of a few, I also struggle to think of many shiny inserts that truly matter from a value perspective. Why do you think that so many more inserts and parallels matter in the 90s and the 2000s compared to the 13 years of the Panini era?
Which parallels from the 90s and 2000s are we thinking of?
I suppose,
because the 90s only had one parallel.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. The answer is that a player from today has 30 products, each has a gold out of 10. So they kind of have 300 golds. Now, not all the products are equal, but they kind of have 300 golds. Whereas like a player from the 90s, they might have just one parallel to their base set card out of 50, but that's it. They have fewer total parallels.
The one thing that worries me about Topps relative to Panini is that these are the most popular parallels because for 2 reasons. They look the nicest and they're the lowest numbering. Whereas with Topps, I don't think we're going to get that combo based on historical. Like the golds are out of 50, the reds are out of 5, orange 25. So like we're going to have to adjust to weirder colors that are actually better. Whereas in Panini, it's like the better looking. Like everyone likes Nebulas because they're 1 of 1s and they look cool. If those were out of $2.99, people wouldn't give a shit about Nebulas.
Right, exactly. It's golds out of 50. 50 is way too many. So
we'll see what they said they're going to stick with that, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting because isn't there's 25? I don't even know what their 10 is. Is 10 black or something?
Sometimes, yeah. I think like we have a question about that. So yeah, I think that's a key observation. There is that it wasn't just the fact that the Prism Gold is out of 10 that made it a centerpiece. It's also that it's this beautiful solid gold color that people really like too. That played a big role. But I also want to dispute the premise here a little bit. It's like for players who like come out very recently, like maybe their Prism color match, like let's say it's their Prism color match is blue out of 199. Like that's people are going to look at that and think it's too many. Although like Luca's blue Prism PSA 10 sells for $15,000 or $20,000, and there's 199 of those. But and so that's kind of the other thing I was going to connect it to is that like I don't know for other players, but I know for the players I collect, like Jokic's 2015 Prism Mojo PSA 10 sold for like $35,000 a few months ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's got 25 copies. So it's kind of also about the offering that the player has. Like Jokic has a much more limited rookie offering than guys who came 6, 7, 8 years later. So for him, out of 25 is a lot rarer than out of 25 is for a guy, for Stephon Castle.
Yeah.
And then
totally.
that extends even further back to the 90s and the 2000s where like in the 90s, like a card out of 500 has quite a bit of rarity.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, the Mojo is interesting because people probably, obviously like look at his pop report and you're like, I'd love to have the gold, but there are no available. I don't have the black. The Mojo's the next best. The pop is 4, whatever. Like this is clearly a good card.
Exactly. I always thought the Mojo was really pretty slick. So, all right. From Enjoy Cards IG, what advice would you give for grading a card with PSA whose value could vary wildly, maybe from 5,000 to 50,000, depending upon whether it grades an 8, a 9, or a 10. How do you ship it? What value do you declare to PSA? Do you put insurance? And what are the ramifications and the trade-offs based on the value you declare with the PSA?
I think you probably declare it as an 8 in the scenario that it's raw. Just be reasonable and probably do the 8. Ship it. I mean, we've gone over this so many times. Like, I prefer to drop off big PSA cards like that in person at shows. But if you're shipping, FedEx overnight. Insurance, that's up to you. Like, FedEx, dealing with shipping insurance is a pain. It's better to do it on your own. Ramifications. If it gets a 10, then PSA will handle the difference. So it's not, it's not like they're gonna do anything to you. It's fine. They'll send you an email like, hey, it got a 10. This is the value. You owe us money.
Exactly. Fantastic offer. I'm sorry, fantastic answer. The one thing I want to offer to add to this is that if you go to PSA's website, they usually have a list of like when they have reps on site at various card stores as well as card shows who are picking stuff up to take back. So you can usually locate something that's local to you for a drop off if you're willing to wait a little while and find out when they're going to be local to you. So, but great question. I think it's good to think about. I totally wasn't thinking about the idea that these drop offs exist, and then after Josh mentioned, I was like, yeah, you can actually look that up. You can see when a PSA rep's going to be near you, and a lot of card shops have strong relations with PSA, so they often have these pickup events so that you don't have to ship it yourself.
They had one in Phoenix at the Suns arena, and they let me go. They let everyone go on the court and like shoot around, and they made it like a whole event. And then it's like, oh, while I'm here, I'll drop off my cards, not have to worry about shipping it. They like go through the order in front of you and like basically check it into the system. So it actually makes it a little bit quicker too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, from Ryan Bitter, for both of you, what is an opinion that you have that goes against the general hobby consensus?
Opinion, belief. How much trouble do you want me to get in?
Who cares?
Do you have one off the top of your head? I'm thinking still. But
yeah, I do, because this is just the axe that I'm grinding right now. So, and I thought about this for a little while.
Grind it.
Yeah, the opinion that I have that goes against, it's going to go back to that Hakeem card. Like 90s collectors are really high on these like cards numbered to 50 and 100 and stuff. And I'm really high on the ones numbered 1 of 1 from the same season from big name brands, just like these other ones come from. So that's kind of where I definitely zag directly against the hobby consensus, is that for Hakeem Olajuwon, it is insane to me that his PMG champ out of 50 is worth more than his Flair Rose Zero 1 of 1 Legacy Collection masterpiece. That is insane to me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
the easy target
of the year.
The easy one is that I think Kaboom and Downtowns are like the most overpriced things of all time. They just continue to go up, and just go look at Golden's auction right now. The 2018 gold Kaboom LeBron is like already way past his rookie gold refractor. It just makes absolutely no sense to me. I just think that's so stupid.
That's when it's like right in your face too. When it's like there's this, the rookie year card is right here, folks. It's in the same auction.
Yeah, and it's like half the price. Makes no sense.
But also, it's nice that it is that way, because there's opportunity there. That's how I see it. Like on that Hakeem, that Rose Zero 1 of 1, the 1 for I was the underbidder. I wanted that card bad, but when it got up to 20,000, I was like, well.
What about the like the Barry Sanders red labels, 1 of 1s that sell for $8,000, and then his green PMGs out of 15 sell for 300.
Yeah. Don't even. You're just trying to bait me here.
Oh, I love a good bait.
Don't get me started here. All right.
I'll just start saying I was trying to come up with something around like dealers and flippers. Like everybody thinks it's so good for the ecosystem, and I'm hesitant to admit to say that. So I don't have anything more like concrete though.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Cage has the right answer. He says 90s is still nostalgia driven.
Yep.
People had metal and they chased the PMG or the rubies. Nobody really chased the one of ones. They were unknowns. Inserts had a history. I think that's exactly right.
I think they do the same thing with players too, spending all their money on Dennis Rodman and Allen Iverson. Those guys
exactly
are incredibly overrated. Bill had the stat that he was excited about, how many playoff series you've won. Did you hear this?
No, I haven't listened to his latest.
He was making the argument against Giannis that he hasn't been much of a playoff performer.
What a pylon.
Well, he's basically saying like Giannis only has like 8 playoff series wins, and Jokic already has more, and he's in a later rookie class, and I think Luke already has more, and I think he said Iverson only has like 8 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The playoff series wins are a bit of a team stat, but that's fine. All right, Bill. Next question here. Vinny Slabber. I just don't like a zag against Giannis right now. You're piling on. Dude, now is the time to zag in favor of Giannis.
Yeah, because he's got people think he has nobody left, and Lillard left. They might be better. They added Turner and they got rid of Lillard.
Dude, Turner is a nice ad. I like Turner. Turner is a nice ad over there.
It's better than Brooke Lopez.
He's in Clipper land now. He's getting that special sponsorship on the side. All right. All right, from Vinny Slabberino. Always enjoy the show. In other collectible spaces, there are consultants that will help you learn and navigate the hobby, while many kind people like yourselves will help regardless. Would the hobby benefit from having paid consultants to help folks? Not talking about influencers. I'm talking about paid consultants contracted to have your best interest in mind. I used to have a few for other hobbies, and I find that it is an accelerant to learning because you have that paid relationship to keep people motivated. Thank you, Vinny.
The auction houses are like supposed to have this, right? Like they kind of fill this need. There's people that are.
I suppose that's true.
The issue there is that they are more incentivized to like sell you stuff that are within their auction house platforms and not necessarily anything.
That's a huge conflict. Yeah,
they can facilitate private deals as well. If people in their network, they know they have the cards, etc.
Yeah,
I'm kind of against this because we've talked a lot on this show about like having to take your lumps going through the hobby, learning the best way, and if you really are like passionate about it long term, you'll be better off. Like if you were to stick with it when you make the mistakes, it just shows you're willing to stick with it, and you'll actually be better off in the long run. And having like paying someone to kind of get you to the front of the line is gonna probably burn you out quicker.
Yeah, it's a great take. It's like in fishing, they have these guided tours where the fishing expert will take you to all the best spots in the lake and stuff. And like part of the point of pride of fishing is finding those spots for yourself and then kind of keeping them from others, so you kind of know where the secret crib is with all the fish and stuff. But so I like that zag, and then I've got a different zag against our dear friend Vinny's idea here, which is that I don't know if there's anybody qualified to do this. I think we're still in the second inning of hobby expertise.
Well, let me add to your zag. If there is someone qualified, why would they be buying stuff for someone else? They would just do it. They would just buy their own cards.
That's exactly where I needed to land. That's where you ultimately get to. Is that
It's like, oh, I'm buying you all these sick cards. What are we doing here? I'm getting 10% instead of the 100% gains.
Exactly. All right. This one up next from J Epstein 77. It's a long one, so strap in here. I know how critical the highest level of rarity is to both of you in your collections. I'm primarily a vintage collector, and most of these sophisticated vintage guys, they take immense pride in acquiring similarly rare cards, often from an utterly niche set, and they love talking about these obscurities. But I just can't get on board. While I enjoy a new card image that I haven't seen before, Babe Ruth or Jackie Robinson, I simply don't get enthused by these cards otherwise. Chris, you use the Omniscient Collector experiment. I use the Ignorant Observer experiment. That's where I show a card to my wife and see if she gives a shit about it. The Apex Parallel 1 of a modern card, the kind that both of you pursue, might make her give a shit. An iconic Playing Days Mickey Mantle might make her give a shit. But a 1913 Z-Nut regional rareback 3-finger brown light color hat pitching variation would earn me a wildly patronizing expression of forced tolerance if I own most of the well-known cards I want to own and that I'm willing to pay for. And I do wish to explore rarity, but I also care about the societal significance of the cards I own. How can I conceptualize where to go next?
That's a good question. That's one of those that you could just read the question and
Exactly. Great. He laid out a bunch there.
I personally do love the test of showing a card to a rando and seeing how they react to it. If they, oh shit, they can just kind of tell looking at it. That's always a nice test. You're probably in the right range.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And and yeah, I totally agree with you that the question sort of just stands on its own here. But I am going to make a defense of the obscure vintage collector. I'm not going to zag against what has been said here. I do get exactly where it's coming from. But I, more than the question asker, am sympathetic to the vintage community who try to find the most rare items. And I think there's a wrinkle there. Now, I'm very new to understanding vintage and pre-war cards, so apologies if I make a mistake here, but I recently had occasion to look up some writing from Baseball Sabermetrics website, I think, or I don't know, some blog that did a deep dive into Jackie Robinson's earliest cards, and there was a lot of substance there. And there was a compelling case made that there are at least several cards that predate the Bowman and the Leaf. And it seems like they're the most sophisticated baseball collectors of the vintage era are on board with at least some of those cards. Like the Bond Bread is one of them and stuff. And anyway, I don't collect that stuff, so I haven't gone too far down that rabbit hole. Except to say that there is actually a ton of nuance within the rarities of vintage and pre-war that is pretty neat. And I can see if I was collecting in that space, I might myself gravitate to the obscurities and the rarities over, especially if they have, like in the case of Jack Robinson, if they actually predate or can be located truly to his rookie season and not to a season or two after. If you have all that going, if it's very rare, it's an oddity, and it has a stronger claim to being a rookie card, there's a lot to like there to me.
So when I read that question, I was thinking of like the guy who's like, I can't afford the Black Prism Steph Curry, but I'll buy the Black Prism Monopoly card, or I'll buy the unlicensed Leaf where he's wearing a suit, 1-of-1 Superfractor or something.
Yep.
That's how I took that.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. I get it. All right. Let's cram in one more, maybe two, and then we need to go. Brendan Ryan 74 says Schrodinger's cat is a thought experiment illustrating the concept of quantum superposition, where a cat in a sealed box is simultaneously both alive and dead until the box is open and observed. My question is: a sealed case of vintage cards of any sport or brand that has the appeal of a potential PSA 10 pull inside of it, thus creating a perceived value. I call this Turner's elephant. As the odds of any vintage card pulled from a sealed case is almost zero. Or let's use 90s cards, for example, where the gem rate is next to impossible. But the sales tactic of selling the potential 10 from these cases persists. Until the case is opened, the PSA 10 is like Schrodinger's cat. Is as much a reality regardless of the odds until it is pulled. Do you feel that this is correct or a short-sighted view that has no merit? Okay, so the concern here, I don't know. Where do you want to go with this?
I don't want to go anywhere with this. This is just like I'm not smart enough to answer this one.
I don't know. I'm not smart enough to answer this one either. I love that Schrodinger's cat was brought up quantum superposition is a great topic. And the metaphor here is just sort of that, like, you don't know what's in the box until you open it. So, you know, and they're, you know, it's almost like everything is in the box until you open it. So it's something to think about. Maybe that needs to marinate for a week. Oh, let's try to get to one more here from Bird Brain Sports Cards. Just got done listening to Stacking Slabs. Take a look back at Prism, and it got me thinking. In this new Fanatics era, will we ever see a product have the trajectory of Prism? Meaning a product that goes from having very little fanfare when introduced, but then goes on to become a hobby juggernaut? Or are Topps product lines too entrenched for that to happen? See, to me, Josh, what I think is that Prism's rise was mostly tied to the overall expansion of the hobby that was happening in the mid 2010s and later. And there was a lot of people in our age bracket who are coming back. We grew up in the era of the Topps Chrome and the shiny base cards and base parallels and inserts, and we gravitated to it. But it was everything was rising together. I think Fanatics is coming in, and all their product lines are going to come in with the hobby already at this level where the industry tab is tracking $300 and $400 million months. And so everything's already at this really high level. And so none of the products get this chance to sort of rise with the tide. We're already really high. So the thing that would have to happen is that some really low end product would suddenly have to just really suddenly become a mid to high end product. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, this reminds me of the Drake question where he's like, which ones were cheap and then you liked him and they went up in value? You know, like, we're talking relative. These are already so high.
Yes.
And he says at the end, Topps product lines are too entrenched. I don't know that people are going to be able to get it out of their head of what they've already seen from Topps, you know, either through baseball or what they remember from Topps Chrome and basketball back in the day. It's going to be really hard to undo some of those hierarchies.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's stop here. And we still had some great questions to get to, but I'll save them for next week. And at this point, let's pick a title. Christina, come on down.
Corporate holiday.
All right.
A firm hour. The impossible card. Can't get rarer than a 1 of 1. I love a good bait. And Turner's elephant.
I really wanted you to read that last one as episode title ... Turner's elephant.
Slim pickings this week. I don't know. I kind of like corporate holiday, but
I like can't get rarer than a 1 of 1.
Yeah. Christina, do you like one?
Probably can't get rarer than a 1 of 1. It's hard for me to say that.
That's what it is.
Rarer.
It's rare to hear you say rarer.
Rarer.
No, not the noise that a tiger makes.
In a Boston accent?
Rarer.
Can't get rarer than a 1 of 1. Can't get rarer than a 1 of 1. It's rough. This one was funny because Josh said it with like a full-on straight face.
It was good. Yep. Who doesn't love good bait? All right. Yeah, that's it. Can't get rarer than a 1 of 1. Good show. We're going to get out of here within the hour. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really good questions this week. See you guys for a future episode if we decide to continue doing the show.
That's up in the air.
Probably not going to happen.